Welcome to this 7-day challenge trailer. Let me explain these challenges and why I made them so that you can decide if you think they will benefit you. So you've probably come across the concepts of active learning and passive learning with your English studies at some point in your life, right? But just in case you haven't come across these terms before, let's break down what they are. Passive learning is a method of learning in which students receive information from a source and internalize it. So in other words, passive learning is where you're learning something by absorbing it instead of engaging with it physically. Examples might be reading a book, watching a movie, or listening to a lecture. You can see that reading, watching, and listening are all activities that you can do without having to engage with it physically. Active learning is a method of learning in which students are actively or experientially involved in the learning process. So in other words, active learning is where you are engaging with what you're learning by discovering, processing, and then applying it. Discovering, processing, and then applying it. Okay? Examples might include writing an email, reading out loud, or having a group discussion about a topic. Students who are actively learning are discovering, processing, and applying information. So why am I going on about these two methods and how does it help you as an English learner? Well, they're actually really important to build fluency in English. You need to do a large amount of both active and passive learning as they achieve different things. Passive learning allows you to get exposure to large amounts of content, such as watching movies or TV shows, or listening to audiobooks or podcasts, etc., etc. And as a result, you're being exposed to lots and lots of new vocabulary, grammar structures, different accents, slang, colloquialisms, informal and formal uses of English, etc., etc., which is really good. Active learning allows you to use what you've absorbed when you were passively learning. For example, having conversations or discussions, writing essays, emails, or chatting on social media. And whilst doing this, you'll start to use those new pieces of vocabulary, grammar, slang, etc., that you have been picking up through your passive learning period of study. Now, this is the important training that your brain needs in order to both form and strengthen neural pathways so that you can remember and use what you've learned. Still with me? Passive learning gives you the initial exposure to new information, and active learning is what gets your brain to internalize it permanently. A lot of the time, students focus way too heavily on passive learning and think repeated exposure will be all that's needed to get better. Now, whilst it will work to some extent, it's by no means the most effective way of using your time when trying to, say, build your English fluency. After that initial exposure to new information, you need to then use it. You need to use that information in an active learning exercise in order to internalize it. And this is where the 7-day challenge comes into play, because I have carefully created 7 highly engaging activities that all require you to be in the active learning process and to stay focused on the day's challenge. But what's more is that these challenges will get you thinking on your own about other ways to stay in the active learning process with your English long after this week is finished. So think of this week as a week of active challenges, but a lifetime of benefiting from seeing how to turn passive exercises into active ones. So if you think this will help you, then I look forward to seeing you inside the 7-day challenge mini course and giving you that first challenge. My name is Charlie, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side.